1 dozen days ago, Temtem, a Pokemon-inspired MMORPG, launched into early access. 2 weeks before that, I published a video reviewing my time in the closed alpha. In the intervening time, the word Temtem has spread far and wide, quickly gaining notoriety and respect for being more than the simple brainless cash-in copycat Me Too Pokemon clone it seems to be on first glance. Hello again, I am Blunty, 22 years a Pokemon fan and someone who has, in these dozen days, already squeezed 90 hours of game time into Temtem Early Access. In that time, I have completed all the main quests and almost all of the side quests, and that only represents playing through 50% of the planned quest content when the game comes out of Early Access. To be fair, quite a lot of those hours were spent breeding and training and grinding and leveling up. But it is an MMO, and that's par for the course. And of course, as any YouTuber would, I'd very much like it if you'd take a moment now to consider taking a quick poke at that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Maybe ring the bell so there's less chance of YouTube's sociopathic robot brain hiding my videos from you, and pop a comment. One perhaps now, letting me know what feature you'd hope for most from either this, or indeed Pokemon, and one at the end of the video, where you tell me I have momentarily amused or informed you. In its own right, the game has a surprising level of polish already, not just in the context of a brand new, freshly launched MMO, which, let's face it, is a beast that never, ever launches completely smoothly. Not even World of Warcraft, the world's biggest and longest running MMORPG with 15 years of experience, can launch a simple expansion even today to their existing game without multiple disastrous crap and player frustrations, making them scream on Reddit. But somehow, Temtem and the devs Creamer have managed to get the game running pretty damn stable, boost server player caps from 20,000 to 35,000 within a few days of launch, and the entire time they have been professional, very communicative, and basically the golden goddamn standard of developer communication and listening to player feedback. They have been amazing. They have done one of the best jobs I've seen of any developer, big or small. And that alone gives me quite a lot of confidence in not only their professionalism, but their ability to deliver this game and its promises, and their commitment to the player base. Meanwhile, the game itself, which has peaked at nearly 40,000 players already and is seeing an average of about 25,000 players a day, manages to at once borrow heavily from many things that has made and currently makes Pokemon fun, while putting in enough of their own spin on things to make it feel more than a simple knockoff. And also do the one main thing we've been begging for from Pokemon for years now, and that is make it tough. Stop making me feel like I'm playing a game designed for 3-year-olds to plow through. While in early access, its home is of course on the PC, but the plan is indeed to bring it to all major consoles, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. With the Xbox and PlayStation heading towards a new generational upgrade by the end of the year, and with both of those new systems expected to have full and complete backwards compatibility, you can be pretty confident that even if it only technically launches on the Xbox One and PS4, this version should still run on new hardware too. So if you are an early adopter, you won't have to worry about keeping these consoles around just so you can play Temtem when it launches there. As for the Switch, I'm expecting the game there to do extremely well, being a Pokemon-style game on the platform where all the biggest Pokemon fans have already made investments. It's kind of a no-brainer. Put the game where the Pokemon players are so they can play it. Originally planned for console release in 2020, that official expectation has been pushed back. I'd expect the earliest we see it on consoles would be early to mid next year, as the game continues to evolve through its early access phases on PC throughout 2020. Nothing much has yet been said about the fact of microtransactions, season passes, subscriptions, or the other such facts of life that an always-online MMO needs in order to be financially sustainable in the long term. But the team has said many times now, in an effort to reassure gamers who are now ever more bitter and cynical about being bitten in the ass by the giant wallet-sucking machines of the likes of EA and their ilk, that there will be absolutely no pay-to-win systems in the game. Being an MMO, there's a larger amount of grind than a modern-day Pokemon kitty may be used to. This, if you're Ubisoft for example, would also make a tempting target for microtransactions with a classic Ubisoft time-saver booster purchase or some other sleazy garbage. And while Creamer hasn't specifically ruled this out, their general attitude towards the game and the player base they've already built seems to rule it out just by nature. We should absolutely expect microtransactions in the forms of cosmetics, both for player and for furnishing and decorating their personal housing, that's planned for inclusion. There's player cosmetics in the game already, over 40 different options in fact, but the pricing is way high, especially given the in-game currency earned by beating trainers is limited and non-repeatable, and at the moment there's only one way in-game to get renewable and repeatable source of income, and that requires a lot of grinding in and of itself. This, and the cost of items used to enhance the breeding mechanics, is a spot of irritation for many players right now. As with all early access games, everything involving gameplay balance can and likely will change, probably many times before launch, so I don't see much point in getting tied up in knots about it at this point. Still planned and confirmed as coming for the game as it becomes ever more complete include many things Pokemon players have been gasping for years, like a Nuzlocke style mode, a hard mode. How many times have you heard experienced long-time Pokemon players go, just give us a hard mode. Just turn up the difficulty. Make them higher level, anything. Give the other trainers more Pokemon to fight against. To do something to make it more challenging, please! Well, a Nuzlocke playthrough was originally invented by Pokemon communities desperate for more challenge in the frustratingly ever easier Pokemon game releases. A Nuzlocke mode would permanently retire any monster knocked out in battle. In other words, if they go down, they stay down. No reviving, not by items, not by a healing station. You let your Temtem take that final hit, that's it. Consider it dead. In Pokemon games, this alone is a tough challenge, but in this game, already significantly less forgiving than a modern Pokemon game, it would be a very hardcore mode indeed. On the other side of the coin, an arcade mode is planned, where rewards are earned by playing various minigames. In the game already, any Temtem you catch and train can follow your player character around in the overworld, which is something that's popped in and out of Pokemon games, but always wanted in a Pokemon game by the Pokemon community. In addition to this, though, there'll be a mount system as well. Quite likely for fast travel, I imagine. Of course, there's many more Temtem coming to right now. There's 86 that we know about. From at least 161 there's spaces for in the Tempedia, this game's version of the Pokedex. Clubs are coming too. We're talking guilds in traditional MMO terms to enhance the social experience, and clubs will have things like weekly challenges for the groups to work towards together. And as a club, you can even take control of dojos, which sounds quite similar to a thing they do in that stupid Pokemon Go mobile game. Player versus player tournaments will be there, of course, on a regular basis for the highly competitive types who want to be the very best. There's also going to be Mythical Temtem, of course there is, which will have fixed stats, so every tamer gets a fair cop when they catch it. There'll only be one in every playthrough for each tamer to catch, but you will get multiple attempts should you fail. There's also a special endgame area planned, where the available wild Temtem will cycle through weekly. Sounds a bit similar to the wild area in Pokemon Sword and Shield. But this wild area will also give you a boosted chance of catching Luma Temtem, or shiny in Pokemon terms. These Luma are also extra desirable, as the Luma have at least 3 maxed out base stats, which makes them quite strong and very good as a breeding base. And given all of this, and given my sort of dozen days experience in the game so far, I am even more confident than I was pre-launch that this game has what it takes to gather momentum, to pull together a player base, to build and maintain itself as a legitimate, ongoing MMO with a nice long tail to it, so you can sink in with confidence knowing there's going to be around. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. Things seem stable enough now to be free of the frustrations you may have seen or heard about from the first couple of days. It is still in progress, it is still in access, so you will still see sort of hot fixes and server restarts coming, but none of those I've even seen in the past week or so have lasted for more than a few minutes or have been very dramatic. The game is running just so well at the moment. I'm so impressed. Have you been playing? What do you think? Are you rushing through the story that's already here so you can bury yourself in the late game, or are you like me and happily taking the slow road, sinking in 90 hours before you finish that final main story quest on the 3rd island? Thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and I will catch you next time.